Not far from Miami Airport, around 10 miles from Miami Beach, you've got this massive casino, Magic City Casino. It's the biggest casino I've ever been in, and it's got a huge parking lot outside, a billion slot machines inside, and a poker room that is hopping on a Thursday afternoon, which is when I pay a visit. So you've got this massive sports book in there as well, you've got a big outdoor area, and many, many other ways for you to gamble within the laws of the state of Florida. Now, one of these ways is Jai-Alai, which is the sport they play in a court in the basement of the casino. Chris Bueno is from Miami, and he plays the sport for Magic City Casino.
So I always explain it's very similar to the rules of racquetball. The only thing is that there is no sidewall on the right side. So it's a bigger court, and you're not hitting the ball, you're catching the ball, but it's the same concept. You serve from behind the line, you got to serve between two other lines, and then after that, it's kind of you throw the ball, you return the ball to the front wall every single time until the other person doesn't return it either in the air or off of one bounce. If it bounces twice, the person that was supposed to catch it and return it, they lose the point, and the other point is awarded. The point is awarded to the player who had initially thrown the ball. This sport is, primarily from the Basque Country, and you got Spaniards and French players. That's where the sport originated, right there in the Basque Country, in between Spain and France. So it's predominantly those players are the ones who play the sport. You also have it in Mexico. You have it here in the United States. It went through Cuba. So you have in the Philippines also. You had professional Jai-Alai. So there are other parts of the world that play Jai-Alai, but it's mainly in the Basque Country in France. So when it was here in America, my father was one of the better American players. And he pretty much stuck around the sport even after he retired. He always had a passion for developing the youth and trying to bring young players into the game.
The claw, is that what do you call that?
A cesta, you call it a cesta.
Okay. Claw, cesta, tomato. Here's Andrew Bleckman of the Jai-Alai Network to tell us how the cesta/claw/basket gets made.
These are all handmade baskets. All the materials that we have here, and you can see some of them back here, I'll take this off, are imported from Spain to the US. So these are literally, you see some of these pieces of chestnut from I believe it's the Pyrenees mountain range in the Basque region of Spain over there. See these pieces, they cut them down for the different frames. Start to finish, these usually take about a month to complete these whole things here. This is literally how they're brought in from Spain. One of our players this year, they have some family over in Spain, they brought them over. They bring them in these huge crates. You see here the tag, way over from Spain as well, and these are just huge shipments of chestnut from the mountains. It's the only place you can get them is over in the Basque region of Spain. So we literally have to send players over there, individuals, personnel from our program to pick this up, and then they craft it from hand here. It costs about, I say somewhere from $300 to $500. So they're pretty expensive, and that's one of the biggest issues with, getting people into the game is kind of some barriers to entry with the cost of the cestas, and they have to be handmade, and there's really only a handful of people in the world that still make these by hand. So it's a whole process. You have to learn from somebody. It's just kind of passed down from generation to generation. It's really not videos on how to do it, and we're fortunate enough that we have one of our guys who does officiating, he does cesta making, and then he also plays at night too. So he's kind of like our Jackie Moon. He does it all for us, so it's great.
So this is the cesta. This is a cesta. This is what we use to throw the ball. This is called the cinta. This is what we use to tie our cesta on. So pretty much you just want to tie it on. You want to go over and under a couple times just to make sure that you have it secure on your wrist and it doesn't fly off when you go to throw the ball. Then when you're done, you just tuck it in. That's the ball right there. You want to make sure you're able to flex your wrist around, because that's how you put spin on the ball. Gotcha. I mean, that's probably the more difficult part about the sport, but it also gives you leverage, which makes this the fastest ball sport in the world, because with the extra leverage that you have with the basket, it allows you to throw the ball faster and harder than you would with just a hand or being able to hit the ball.
Now that's controversial what you just said there, and not to bring it back to Ireland, because we think that hurling is the fastest sport in the world. So I mean, we need to put you two guys up against each other, you versus a hurler somewhere, to see which is actually faster.
According to Guinness Book of World Records, I think the fastest we have is 185 miles per hour thrown.
Okay.
So that's pretty fast.
I don't don't have the figures for hurling. It's at the top of my head.
No, but I mean, either way, it's an intriguing sport, man. When you come out and you watch it, it's like, you know, it's like ballet on ice, man. Like, you know, when you catching it, you know, it's poetry in motion. You know, you got to catch it, return it in one smooth motion.
After trying and failing to defend the honour of hurling, I spoke to another professional player, Ron Madrigal, who's originally from the Philippines.
When I got here, I started in California, living there for 2 years, and then I got a job offer here in Miami to play Jai-Alai. That's weird because in the Philippines, I play Jai-Alai for 6 years professionally, but I retired already. I said, I'm gonna go to the United States and do something else. Like, I don't wanna play anymore.
Right.
Yeah, look for a different job, different career, but it looks like Jai-Alai is looking for me. You know what I mean? It's like I cannot escape Jai-Alai.
Before visiting Miami, the sum total of what I knew about this sport was pretty much zero. So to say I was unprepared for the dramatic tale of how Jai-Alai in the Philippines was destroyed by allegations of match fixing would be something of an understatement.
You know, that's the dirty part of Jai-Alai. You know, people think that we're doing something like, you know, in basketball point shaving.
Yeah.
So most of the people think that we're doing that in the Philippines. That's why they banned the Jai-Alai.
So the sport is banned?
In the Philippines. They said it's illegal now. That's why the Jai-Alai is dead already in the Philippines.
And was there any truth to the rumors?
No. Like, for example, you and me, I'm in post 1, you're in post 2. Hey, let's make money. Okay? I'm gonna put my money on me. You're gonna lose. It's like in basketball point shaving. It happened, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So and then some people do that, and there's like assessor, like company, or like, let's say FBI, checking the game. They find out, oh, you do this thing, you drop the ball. That's why they they closed the Jai-Alai in the Philippines.
Right.
Yes.
Did you know of anybody point shaving?
No. Because in the cage, we have the player's manager watching our game. So the player's manager is familiar to your game. He knows what you're doing. He knows if you are like dropping the ball, if you are giving up the point. They know. If they found out that you're doing that on the same day, they're gonna fire you.
Yeah.
So people who bet on us think that, oh, there's point shaving, or there's like something bad happening inside the court.
So I assume then that there's just so many players in the Philippines who then have to leave, who lose their jobs, right, because of this.
That's true. It happened. That's why Jai-Alai in the Philippines, like in 70s, 80s, 90s, is very famous. It's like bigger than basketball in the Philippines.
Right.
Because like those basketball players in the Philippines watch Jai-Alai. They watching us playing Jai-Alai. But since like there's a dirty issue against like gambling, dropping the points, the Jai-Alai get, banned.
Yes. So is there an underground Jai-Alai scene
No
in the
more.
Philippines?
There's no more court in the Philippines right now.
So they destroyed all the courts as well?
They demolish it. They turn into like a grocery, a mall. There's one small, they called it Canchita, like smaller with this one, maybe like line 12 maybe.
Okay.
That's where our friends play right now. It's outside court.
And that's it, and obviously just for fun, it's not professional?
No, there's no professional, only here in United States.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, so is that the reason why you had to leave?
No, I leave because I got the petition to go here with my family.
Okay.
It just happened like my friend also play here, is also a Filipino, called me, say, hey, you want to play Jai-Alai again? And at first time I said no, I'm done playing Jai-Alai. But it's kind of the feeling when you are not working, you're just playing but you're earning money. So that's a different job that you cannot explain the feeling. You play what you love, and you earn money. I'm playing since I was a kid, growing up with my dad, and this is like, I don't know, waking up, always my mind highlights, like it's in there, it's in my blood. So I don't think that to be able to stop playing Jai-Alai, I think it's my age.
Yeah.
When you're old, it's time to retire. That's it.
So Ron might be considering hanging up the claw or cesta or basket, but Magic City is leading the way in what is something of a renaissance for the sport.
Well, now it's actually gaining a little bit more popularity than it has in the last 10 years or so. when my dad was playing, in the beginning, it was very popular. Like we would go and there would be, you know, maybe a couple hundred people in the audience, which is a good turnout. You know, like, you know, it's an audience maybe for, you know, 5 or 10,000 people, and you have, you know, almost half the audience filled. So it was a good turnout. And then it started a downward spiral, you know, because mainly I would say because of the ownership of the casinos at the time. And here at Magic City, the owner of this casino and the CEO, he's very enthusiastic about building the program. And I think that's what it comes down to, is if you have the owners backing you and the, you know, and the COO of, you know, the operations is pushing for the sport to grow, the players have always been passionate. As far as from the players' perspective, it hasn't downwarded at all. You've had tremendous talent playing this sport for the last, you know, forever.
The more people that support the game, JaiAlai, it will become. I hope it will get bigger again. You know, that's the thing that we need, the support of people and the exposure of the game, because that's the I think that's the reason why JaiAlai is not really big now, because the exposure it's limited. But once, like right now, ESPN3 and it's go to the other local channel, you know, it's gonna be big.
Also here in South Florida, it's got a lot of competition. Even on property, you have a lot of competition. If you come onto the casino grounds, you have shows, you have slot machines, poker tables. You know, you have a lot of attractions even on property. And then if you go into the city of Miami, you have the Dolphins, you have the Heat, you have the Marlins. Not only just sports, you have all of these major concerts and major events going on in the city. You have South Beach, you have all of these parties and, you know, and clubs and night and bars and lounges and stuff. So there's a lot more venues out here. So to make this, like, to grab an audience to come and watch this sport that's maybe not that popular, is hard to do. So it's kind of like we had to start from nothing, you know, to build this back up. You know, you have to have a new marketing strategy. You need to, like, you know, you need to pour. It costs money. It costs money to put this sport into the population, or into whatever, out into the public.
Yeah.
You know, if not, the public eye is not going to see it and nobody's going to know. I mean, my father always says that everybody loves JaiAlai, but not everybody knows it, you know, because it's true. Not everybody knows JaiAlai, but once people come out and they watch what we do, or even go out there and throw the ball a couple times, they fall in love with the sport. It's what happened to me. It's what happened to maybe 99% of the players. Everybody who played JaiAlai from the first time they picked up the basket, they loved the sport and they just never put it down. Traditionally, Miami JaiAlai was the most competitive fronton. When we had, you know, hundreds of frontons here in the United States, Miami JaiAlai was known to be the most competitive fronton. Now you had JaiAlai, which was also a competitive fronton too. Those two, and I mean, you could talk to some of these bass guys here. When you talk to them, they say, like, coming to Miami is like a movie for them. They're from the Basque Country in Spain. You know, they have mountains and beautiful beaches and coasts, but it's not very populated, you know, cities. Here they come here and it's like a movie for them. You have all these venues that I just told you about, like, you know, nightclubs, you know, bars, lounges, the beach, you know, the people are just different. So you have that, and then also Dania Beach Casino is also, like, right on Dania Beach, like on the beach boulevard, and that's also another beautiful beach, you know. So these guys come over here and it's like, you know, to them it's everything I just said about you know, it being a dream come true and being able to get paid to do something that you love. To them it's like all of that plus go on vacation to Miami. You know?
It sounds like there's probably going to be a few Irish handball players back home thinking, I wonder how can I try and get myself a little deal to come to Miami.
Well, it's very expensive though. Miami is a very expensive city, so I mean, not that, you know, not that there's not other places that are, but Miami is actually a very expensive city. But you have a lot of, like, you know, luxury stuff out here. It's nice, you know. So it would be cool for them to come out here and see. You know, I know that there's the World Federation of, like, ball sports, and I know handball is one of them. You know, and they're involved in JaiAlai, and they actually just had a World Super Court tournament in the Basque Country, and those players are coming over here to play against us now for the World Super Court finals. So I mean, it's possible that the handball players are able to come over here at some point.